Okay, let's talk business, and or at least mostly business, because I just finished a long video. This is about a website called theinternetmarket.com, but it's actually about the projects that revolve the potential business, which is a small percentage of something much. Let me start from scratch. Numbers. Theinternetmarket.com and the 150 or 200 domains associated with it, which the list has not been updated, by the way. So I'm going to round it off to whatever, 150 or 200 domains. I was doing some research. I'm not an expert in the field, so take this with a grain of salt. I think it's safe to say that if you wanted to make $10,000 a month with a website, you would need to, if we go with 500 visitors a month give you $1, you'd have to multiply that by 100. And so sometimes I get dyslexic and confused. You do the zeros. Do you have a way to work towards that traffic? One of the things that I said in the other video has to do with, well, you can listen to the other video. I'm going to put a link to it below. But what I do want to add, the other video is a half an hour, and it gets into a lot of stuff that's not business. But what I want to add is that there are so many different ways to measure traffic. Because if you go to, I think, logicandfreedom.com, I think it's got 6 Facebook shares, but I think they're probably almost all mine over the years, because I've had logicandfreedom.com over the years. If you get some fancy software that analyzes traffic, that's fancy and complicated. I want to keep things simple. So, do you want to measure traffic with complex software? Do you want to measure traffic with Facebook and Twitter shares? By the way, I will make a parenthesis here that I have mixed feelings about Facebook. It's not by any means my favorite social media site. So I'm not trying to diss, MySpace, which I have a lot of respect for, at least the original concept of I'm not dissing MySpace, Tumblr, and whatever other social networks out there. But the reason I use Twitter and Facebook on my share buttons is the simplicity and numbers. They're the most frequently used ones. I'm assuming that if you're on Tumblr, for example, you're probably advanced enough, which may not be true for all Facebook users, with all due respect to the billion or so of Facebook users, but most people don't realize that there's an internet address at the top. And I think if you're on Tumblr, you're more likely to know that there is an internet address. You can copy the internet address and you can share it just by copying the internet address and sharing it in your favorite way, whether it's email or posting it. So you don't have to. The Facebook share button and the Twitter share button or like button are just a lazy way to embrace people, to make it easy for people to just share that with the link. But the easiest way, but the not the easiest, the second easiest way, other than a button that you can push on the website that lets you share on Twitter or Facebook, or if you got the Tumblr or Instagram button or whatever, you can push that button if it's there on the website. It's not that much more difficult to copy the website address and share it the way that you want to share it. But going back to measuring, how do you measure traffic? If we assume that 500 visitors a month to a website equate to $1 a month. So if you want to make $100, you would have to have 500 times 10. You would have to have 50,000 visitors a month, which sounds like a lot, but it's nothing compared to the more popular websites. So if 50,000 visitors a month give you 500 a month, if you want 500,000 a month, instead of having 50,000 visitors, you would have to have 50 million visitors, which now you're talking about a relatively big player in the field. And I address some important things about numbers, because if you start selling the small percentage points for reasonable prices, where you can get $100 out of your pocket, or if you're poor, you can get 10 friends and $10 each, and there you go. To start with, for promotion, you could get 10% on one of the websites and saying, okay, we only put in $10, but shit, we have 10% of the internetmarket.com. And then do the math, and then you sell another 10%, but instead of selling it for $100, you sell it for $10,000. Then you sell another 10%, but instead of selling it for $100, you sell it for $10,000, and then you start talking about big businesses are going to come in, and you're going to sell it for millions of dollars or rent it. But anyway, how do you measure the traffic? I suspect the best thing is video. Now, I got an email from Nicole Marger on Fedster, which I can no longer read, so I'm hoping I can contact them through their Yahoo address, because I've been blocked out of Fedster for technical glitches or silly, arguably silly reasons. But we're talking about videos, and I think when Nicole Marger was talking about video and I was talking about video, it was for two different purposes. But the reason I'm mentioning video right now is that I think that a YouTube video would be the easiest way that we can track traffic. So hopefully it wouldn't be a video with my ugly mug and poor lighting. It could be. It could be a video of a starving child, or a video of a sexy woman, or a sexy woman saying, "What do we want to do about this starving child?" So I think that counting YouTube views on a video, I think, would be the best simple answer to monitor traffic on a website. Because if you embed a video or link to a video that's connected with a website, we could say, okay, how much is 5,000 visitors a month getting us? And we use that on 5,000, based on a 5,000 views on YouTube. Because while I suspect that it's easy to cheat the system with a Facebook button or a Twitter button, where if you get 10 people that keep sharing that, it could grow up to 1,000 shares. But you know what? Whether we use Facebook share buttons or Twitter share buttons, or better yet, YouTube views for one video, that would be the one video that we use to track how many visitors we get. I think it's harder, much harder to cheat on the YouTube video count than it is on the Twitter or Facebook share counts for measuring the video. Of course, if you decide that you want to engage in business and you want to use a sophisticated tracking system, a software system that tracks unique visitors, you can have software tracking systems that tell you, which page they went on, how long they went, what's their IP address, do they like Adidas shoes or Nike shoes. It's we live in a time where we're transitioning, where society doesn't know what to do with the fact that you got advertising and business, which is actually what runs the economy, which is trying to figure out how do they cater their advertising to visitors to a website, so they don't try to sell, tennis shoes, running shoes to somebody that's in a wheelchair. So understandably, they want to target their videos. They want to target their advertising. On the other hand, you've got a huge social push for privacy, where they say, we don't want a invasion of privacy. And part of it has to do with the fact that everybody in the world lives a fake life. And if you watch House of Cards, that TV show, and you understand that there's no way that politicians, for example, or businesses, for example, would want transparency. And most people that are afraid of privacy are afraid that they're going to find out that you're cheating on your spouse, or that you're getting on porn, which is what everybody does. Or afraid that if you look up something on pedophilia, because you're somebody that wants to. Pedophilia is a complicated subject, because there could be a time in history where doctors will say you have to touch your children's vagina and penis, or your aunt or uncle has to do that, or otherwise they're going to grow up to be repressed. But right now we live in a world where pedophilia is the biggest taboo and evil that we consider. The difference is, are you actually trying to do evil or not? And as I've said in other videos, the point is that even if you touch your child right now, or you touch a child sexually and the child is happy about it, the fact of the matter is that you're hurting the child, because the child is growing up in a society where it's like the biggest taboo and evil. So the psychological damage that you're going to do to the child, even if the child likes it. I mean, the president of France, ex-president, one of the ex-presidents of France, Mitterrand, was somebody that I think was, his nanny when he was 10 years old he was having great sexual experiences with his nanny. I don't think he considers himself something that's been abused. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that we live in a society where if you want to research something like this, you're afraid that the NSA, not the future's NSA of Modelland 4, but the current NSA is going to find you and track you and put you in jail and shame you in public. So there's a huge concern about privacy on the one hand, and there's a huge need on the economic side that are in conflict. So anyway, I'm for transparency. But right now, we can't have transparency because society is not ready for it. As far as I'm concerned, if we had cameras everywhere and tracking everywhere, that's part of the science fiction that I'm writing, it'd be a much better society. I'm all for transparency, but right now the larger majority of the population is against transparency. But there are systems in place that try to achieve this balance between respecting your privacy and at the same time letting advertisers know what your preferences are, what you like and what you don't like, so that if you go on a website and you are into skiing, you will see advertising that's related to skiing. If you're in a wheelchair and you're not interested in running shoes, and you go on a website but you're interested in reading ancient Asian literature, that instead of getting ads for your running shoes or ads for skiing, you will see ads about Asian literature or astronomy or the Special Olympics or whatever you're interested in. I am not interested right now in wasting my time or taking my time. It wouldn't be a waste. I'm not interested right now in sophisticated software for tracking the kind of users that visit a website. What I am interested in is because somebody using a profile of Nicole Marger is talking to me about saying that they can get traffic to our websites and they want part ownership of the websites, which is one of the things that I've been considering for years, sharing part ownership of the website. So we need to have a way to measure how much traffic you generate and come up with numbers that would make us both happy, about, okay, you get this much percentage ownership of this or that or the group of websites in exchange for this much traffic that we can measure in a way that is easy, such as Facebook shares, Twitter shares, and YouTube or YouTube video counts. Now, I am very inclined to just send you, in fact, I probably will, Right now, let me just throw something at you. I'm going to give 5% of one of my websites. I'm going to give you ownership of 5% of one of my domains for free as a gift because I feel like it. Okay? We need to decide together which one it is. So if you're still interested, you let me know and you say, as a gift, I would like 5% of this website, whether it's the internetmarket.com or sexmoneywomen.com or whatever. Okay? And we can use a contract, but believe it or not, we can also do this with video. I've already done it with somebody. This is me. We've got, you can see who it is, and I give you, right now I'm giving it to whoever it is that can verify that they're behind the, that they've been talking to me as quote-unquote Nicole Marger through Fedster. It's a gift. I am giving you a gift of 5% of one of my domain names. We just need to decide which. That's a gift. So you can talk to me about facts, a contract, this and that. I don't have fucking money for a fucking lawyer. If you do, do it. But I've got a situation where I'm changing my name. My legal name is something other than the name that I want to go with. I'm a shaman and so on and so forth. That gets complicated because there's reasons why I don't necessarily want to do written contracts. I will do written contracts, but they have to. I will consider doing written contracts, but it has to be worth my time. If I'm more willing to talk numbers with somebody that says, hey, you know what? I do have that video. And granted, I could delete the video, but you can use any technology you want to download the video or copy the video. You can use your smartphone. You don't need complicated technology. Use your smartphone, film this video, and you can fight me in court. You're not going to have to fight me in court. But if I get hit by a Mack truck and somebody says, oh, we own the internetmarket.com, you can say, well, I have a video from 2015, 10/19, 19th October 2015, Central European Time, 9/12, where the guy that owned the internet market says, I am giving 5% as a gift, 5% ownership of one website that we have to choose together. Of course, if I got hit by a Mack truck, then we wouldn't be able to decide which domain it is. So you'd have to talk to me before I fucking get hit by a Mack truck. So yes, I want to give you that gift, as a gift, as a tip, for the fact that you are actually looking into that. You're writing to me. It's like the third or fourth time that you're writing to me, and you're saying, you seem to show that you're interested. So as a tip for doing that, I want to give you 5% of one of my domain names. 5% ownership of one of my domain names. If you want to explore growing traffic with it, keep in mind that then we're going to be talking about different numbers, and I need to see that you're actually doing something or what you would do, but eventually I need to see what you're doing. If you want more than 5%, let me know what you can do and show me what you're doing or what you can do. Let's talk about it. That changes traffic, so that you're saying that you can get traffic to the websites. And the other long video, okay, let's use our imagination. Okay, but let me know. Let me know. My question to you, again, you need to understand this, is can you get traffic? How? More importantly, what numbers? And we can start a little bit at a time. Now, I will also entertain that if you want to purchase some percentages of my domain names, I will entertain your wanting to purchase percentages of my domain names. So if you're interested, just talk to me. But as I said in the other video, I need to understand who I'm talking to at some point, which would help if I see your video. You don't have to be the blonde woman. I've addressed this in the other video. I'm open to it, but I need to understand who I'm talking with. But pretty much, I think almost anyone that wants to talk with me, if not anyone that wants to talk with me, yeah, you want to partner up, you want to purchase things, you want to talk to me. And we'd have to talk numbers. Thank you.